Hey, everybody, it's another If You Don't Mind. And I'm so glad to be here today with my friend, Miss Francina Brooks. She is just wonderful. And today we're going to talk about grants. And she has written this book. She's the co author on this book of grants. And I just want to tell you a little bit about um, Gina Wilson Beckles could not be with us today, but Francina is here. So Francina was born and raised here in Florida and received her Master's of Nonprofit Management and Bachelor of Science degree from UCF, University of Central Florida. Francina has four sons that are just, they're great sons, and that is Neil, Willie, Andreas, and Micah. And six grandchildren, Omari, Maya, Micah Jr., Amara, Aria, and Ivy. And Francina is so well versed in nonprofits and nonprofit management. She sets you up from the beginning to the end. And this book, first, let me tell you a little bit about Francina and my history together. You know, a name is means more than anything. So, I was given her name when I started my nonprofit, which is Our Lessons Learned Inc. Oh my God. When Francina started working with me on this, I said, this chick is bad. She knows her stuff in nonprofit. And I just, she's a consultant and she knows how to tell you the right things, where to tell you to go. She's so well versed, and I just appreciated her expertise. And she's my friend, so I wanted her on here today to talk about nonprofits. If God gives you a vision of something, go for it. Through your pain, your purpose sometimes is built. And through my pain, that's where Leah and I, through her pain as well, we started a nonprofit. So, welcome, Francina. I want to welcome you to this platform today. And
Thank
I
you.
pray that whatever you're going to say does not fall on deaf ears, that people will open up and realize, you know what? I'm going to do this. But if you're going to do it right. Don't step out there and half do anything. Francina knows exactly what to do, how to do it, and can guide you through that process. So I will also give you her information. It is Brooks, Brooks 64 at gmail.com. Again, that's Brooks with an S on it, 64 at gmail.com. She can walk you through to the top, to the beginning. So tell me, what was the inspiration for this book?
So, first of all, Lynn, I want to thank you for that warm introduction. I'm thankful for you giving me this opportunity today. So, what inspired us, though, to write this book is after 15 or more years working with nonprofit administrators, I started out as a grant writer. And after I went through the University of Central Florida, their nonprofit management program, I was so excited. I said, well, and my passion is helping people. My passion is writing. So I thought, how do I put all this together, and achieve what I enjoy doing? With the knowledge that I had gained from UCF. So, after working as a consultant and writing grant applications and have won over $1 million worth of grants
Mm,
through the
mm, mm.
years. But what I have found is that a lot of people, they have this passion, this burning desire to start a nonprofit organization, but it's a desire because God is the one that put it in us. Every good and perfect gift comes from above.
Yes.
And so God put something in all of us. And so you have those out there that they have a burning desire to do something for their community. Whether they have a targeted population, some people want to help the homeless, some people have a passion for women, some have a passion for children, just whatever it is that God has put in them. And so, after working with many individuals, helping them to start a nonprofit, helping them to secure funds, I found that many people don't know where to start. They don't know how to research funding. They don't know how to sustain the organization. So there was so much that I learned through just working with individuals who were just starting, who just had a passion. You know, they had their boots on the ground and they were doing the work. But
Mhm.
again, their organization was self funded. They started the organization. However, they didn't have their infrastructure built appropriately to be able to sustain over time.
Mhm.
So after working with these organizations for many years, and a lot of the nonprofit organizations that I work with, they had a struggle in terms of getting the grant awards, and that was because the infrastructure wasn't strong enough. They didn't have diversified funding. But of course, starting out as a new grant writer, I learned this through the years of working with individuals. And then I realized when I worked with a strong organization that had all of these pieces together, we were getting money left and right. The funds were coming in. They were getting
Mhm.
federal money, state money, foundation funding. And so I started to look and evaluate all of that. And that's where I am now, where I want to help nonprofit organizations. Well, we wrote the book because we wanted to put all the knowledge that we have gained, Gina and I, and to just and make it, as you stated, an easy read.
Mhm.
And so we wanted to take all that knowledge, like Gina and I have over 40 years of experience together. We wanted to put that in one place. And so that's where we wrote the book together. It was not an easy task because we did, again, want to make it easy read, making an easy
Mhm.
read.
Mhm.
So that's what inspired me to join Gina, because Gina had already wrote a first edition. However, she asked me to join her in writing the second edition because she knew that I had the background, the knowledge in starting a nonprofit in terms of how to find funds and so forth.
That's awesome, Francine. And I just want to tell you, thank you for dealing with me because, I'm one of those that wants everything fast, fast, fast. And you would come back and you would tell me, no, you can't put this out here like this. So I thank you for working with me in those times. And I'm one that is a hands on audio. I have to hear it, see it, and hands on. That's my learning style. And you were very patient with me and sending things back. No, you can't do this. No, you need to include that. So I thank you for that patience. In your book, you wrote so many things in here, and I just want to touch on a few. And I did not know that in the United States today there are over 2 million nonprofit organization, and it's enormously competitive when it comes to obtaining some of these grants. We're in a season where you know we don't know what's going to happen with these nonprofit organizations in obtaining grants. Do you have any knowledge? Do you know what's happening, or any you know I don't even know how to pose that question, because I think a lot of people are at a standstill right now because they don't know where to go, how to proceed, if they're giving out grant money at this time. What's happening? If you don't know, it's okay, but just want to know what's happening.
So first of all, I do want to say thank you for you were an easy person to work with,
Ooh.
because I mean, of course, I've run into people who this is their baby, and so when you tell them that this needs to be done this way, it's like, how dare you tell me how to run my organization? But it's so you thank you for that. But what I would say is this: with the current administration, the way things are now with the federal funds, we're losing some federal funds. And so now it's really a time for nonprofit administrators to do what should have already been done, is to better diversify their budget, their funding
Okay.
streams.
Okay.
Okay, so not to be so reliant on grants, but
Mm.
to be able to present yourself and show that you've already have other sources. So in order to make you more favorable to funders, now it's very competitive. So you've got to be more creative in terms of building your funding. Sponsorships, corporate sponsorships. who are those people that you know? First of all, start with those people you deal with regularly. You know, the that person that you take your laundry, you know, to do the cleaners. Where do you go? Places you shop, people you know, your circle of network. That's where we need to start looking. And more people now, because of how the administration is now and how they are trying to cut the federal money, now it's more time now for nonprofit administrators to look outside of the box and develop a strong, diversified budget. Fundraising, a
Mhm.
lot of nonprofits are under the impression they don't charge for services. You can charge for services. Of
Mhm.
course, you don't want to, you want to consider your population, but at the same time, you've got to look at other sources other than grants. And now is the best time right now because of the environment that we're in. You've got more nonprofits out there continuously. You read the number, the statistics on how many nonprofits are here. So it's time for us to really tighten, you know, your budget, tighten things up in a way that you are looking way outside of what you've normally looked at, you know.
And that is so good. That's such good information because I know the US is the world's largest supplier of grant funding. So now it is time to look outside, look for those sponsors and things of that nature that can help in this time. That's sound advice. I thank you for that so much. And that was in your book. And you also put down, I like what you say, a grant is something granted as a privilege or a right, uh, a sum of money or a tract of land. And, you know, it's defined that way. And I love how you guys even put the definition in there, the dictionary definition and the other definitions. And that's so important because you gave people knowledge, and knowledge is power.
Yes,
So
yes.
I just believe in that knowledge that in your book you gave. You know, the overall grant process sometimes is lengthy, and I don't have to, I'm very impatient, you know, so it's a lengthy process. So when you hire a grant writer to write that, how long does it take? Does it depend? Just tell me, just you know, a little bit about what's the process.
Okay, so first of all, I do want to say that before you go out there and spend those limited resources that you have on hiring a grant writer, use what you have, your inside support, volunteers, because think about it, as a startup nonprofit, now these are for the startup and just starting, you have limited resources.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably self-funding the organization.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be really a good steward of the limited resources that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't recommend anyone to hire a grant writer until they're at a point where they have their infrastructure built.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have the systems in place. They have developed a plan of action. So, and be careful when you do get to a place where you hire a grant writer, because some grant writers are just going to take your money. You looking for a grant writer, they're going to come and take your money, and they're not looking at whether you are truly ready. Before I now I learned, and through experience I learned, before I would even take a client on as grant writing for them, I want to do a grant readiness assessment. I want to see if the organization, where they are, do you have a budget, have
Mm-hmm.
you, do you have your programs in writing? You know, the Bible tells us, write the vision, make it plain.
Yes.
Things need to be in writing. Do you have a strong mission? Do
Mm-hmm.
you have a board that is supportive and giving toward the organization? So before you go and hire a grant writer, make sure that you have these things in place first.
Mm-hmm.
And if you run into someone who doesn't even require you to have all these things in place, who don't even ask about it, then you might want to go the other way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just be very careful. And if you've run into someone that tells you that they can guarantee you funding, again, run.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is sound advice because when you're just starting up, sometimes you could be desperate. You want to get things off the ground and you get your boots on the ground running. So you want to be making sure that you're being safe and making sure that everything is in place. There in your book you said there are countless types of grants offered for nearly every purpose under the sun. And keywords you have to put in when you're searching for those grants. Francina, I've been denied, our Lee and I, our organization, we've been denied grants. And sometimes you get, you know, when the door slammed in your face over and over and over again, I keep walking in faith and say, God, you gave this to me. It's in your time. What advice could you give a person who is trying, but they have not been able to obtain grants yet for their purpose?
So, what I would encourage them to do, first of all, you definitely don't want to give up. God
Mhm,
gave you this mission,
mhm,
this passion for whatever it is that you're doing. Don't give up, don't get discouraged, but sometimes take time, you and your board, to reevaluate
mhm,
your overall where you are.
mhm,
What does your website look like? What is it that because funders are looking for a variety of things.
mhm.
They want to see that they're giving their money to a strong organization that they're comfortable it's going to sustain over time. So you want to be able to make sure that when do you have your budget in place? Do you have diversified funding in that budget to be able to show? Are you showing board giving 100%? Don't give up. Just take that time to go back and again work on your plan
Mhm,
on the inside of your organization. What's missing?
mhm.
Also, I want to encourage you, when you get those rejection letters, give them a call. A lot of times,
Oh, good. Okay.
if they send you a letter and they said that a lot of times the letter is just a format, we've exhausted our funds, we love your organization, but I still would advise you out there who've gotten those denial letters, give them a call. Call that funding agency just to find out what was it that caused you to be denied.
Okay.
Sometimes you will get some good information from them. Sometimes they'll just tell you that they got so many applications, they just didn't have enough funds to give them out. Some organizations, and another thing that is, I would advise you to do is do the research on that funding agency before you submit an application to them. They're 990. Who have they given to in the past? How much have they given out? You know, if they've given to whatever area of your mental health is your target population, have they given any money to mental health agencies? If so, how much? Maybe your request was too much. Maybe you need to do some different things to your application. But looking at their 990 to evaluate what they've given out and their history in giving was helpful as well, I found. Um,
Wow.
so yeah, again, it's just don't give up. I want to encourage you all out there not to give up because
Mhm,
and just also start focusing on, do you have a fundraising plan? Do you have other sources of funding? Do you have program revenue? Are you charging a minimal amount for your services? So just start looking on the inside of your organization to see what you can do to make your application more competitive, what you can do to strengthen your organization. Because funders look at all that. They're going to your website. Is your website updated? Does it have all of the correct information on it?
mhm.
And that type of thing.
Okay. Here in Central Florida, we have the Central Florida Foundation that they go on, and it's so much information that you must put on there. But as you said, lenders are going to go on there, they're going to go on there and look at the organization and make sure everything. That has been a challenge for me to get
And
all that information
it's very
together.
intimidating. It's a
Yes,
lot that they won't. And
yes,
so and then you have to continuously make sure it's updated.
yes,
And you have
yes.
to check yourself to make sure that what you presented makes sense. Your
Yeah.
budget, does it make sense? Because when you think about a committee that's sitting around reviewing 500 applications, they're looking for things that they could just, say, okay, a quick review, and they'll see something that's not right in the garbage can, going on to the next, 499 more. Think about, streamline it. Sometimes in your applications you're too wordy. They don't like a lot of work. Think about if you've just done a job from 8 to 5, and now you're sitting home and you've got to review all these applications. I'm sorry, I think I digressed from your question, but
It's
you're
okay.
talking about the community foundation.
You
Yes.
but you
And that
answered
is
that.
a great, make sure you got a profile out there. If you don't get, and that helps you to get your information together, and it's
Yeah.
good to have all of your important documents in one place,
Yes. Yes.
and update it. Make sure you keep your information updated, and you've got to be out there, and your board member out there doing the work, looking for opportunities for you as well.
Yes.
Don't give up.
Exactly.
Keep keep pushing forward.
Yes, it's hard sometimes, and I think people are, they're pushing forward. How about religious organizations? You're a minister, so you know about religious organizations and churches and things of that nature. What advice would you give, religious organizations that are looking for grants?
So, what I would say for religious organizations, faith-based organizations, I tell them to get you a separate 501c3 from the church. So
Mhm,
therefore, you separated it, and so now because the thing that the funders are looking at is, if you're a church, are these funds going to be just for your church members?
mhm,
So what I always encourage them to do is start a nonprofit separate from, get your 501c separate from the church. That
mhm.
way you have a separation of funding,
Yeah.
separation, so that you can definitely clearly show that this organization here, we are serving our population, not just our church. And then there are some funders out there that do not fund religious organizations.
Mhm.
So therefore, you've already knocked yourself out of the game if you come as a church. However, you're not going to change your mission, or your spiritual belief, but you just want to change how you're presenting yourself.
Right.
Okay.
That's such good information. And I like how in chapter 11 of your book, you have the most important websites for grant seekers. And it goes on and on. And it's just so good, the corporate grants. And this is a wealth of knowledge right here. And then in chapter 12, lessons learned. I always experience is the best teacher. So
Yeah.
these are the lessons learned. So I just thank you because this is everything you need to know about grants, grants, grants. And this book is on Amazon. Is there anywhere else this book is available?
Barnes and Nobles
Or-
also
Okay.
online, and then they can also go to our publisher Ex Libris as well. But if there are the other closing things that I would like to say, remarks
Yes,
that I
ma'am.
want to make,
Yes.
is that I want to encourage those nonprofits that are maybe just starting out, or have not, been able to get those grant funds that they've been trying to applying for on a regular. Think about partnerships. Think about collaborations.
Hmm.
And joining. Look around and see who's serving. Have similar services. They're providing similar service to what you provide, but what gap are you filling, and how you can come alongside that partner and help them. They're getting maybe federal funding. They may be looking for someone to help them, run the programs and do certain things. So look at collaborations and partnerships. Funders love to see those. They want to make sure those funds are being leveraged.
Sound advice. That's great. And I know we have tried to branch out and partner with different, organizations in the social justice movement. And it's good. And this book also, I want to tell you, this book also shows you how to start a nonprofit organization, determine if a grant is right for your organization, identify appropriate funding sources, write a proposal, develop a budget, develop an evaluation plan, and pitfalls to avoid. So this book is a knockout. I mean, it's everything that you need for success in this book. So I thank you to you and to Dr. Beckles for creating this, because you know what? Many organizations grow in a downturn, and we're in a downturn right now. So this is the time to really grow that organization. And this is a time for this book, Everything You Need and about grants. So, Francina, I thank you so much for, putting it out there for anybody and everybody. Again, Brooks64@gmail.com or Gina Beckles at centralflorida.rr.com. And you know what? This book is going to help you so much. And they have a website also. And you can visit their website at www.knowaboutgrants.com. Again, that is www.knowaboutgrants.com. Yes, Francina.
Just want to make one correction. Brooks S with the S on the end and then a F. Is that F not there?
Oh,
F
I'm sorry.
64.
Yes, it is.
Brooks
Brooks
S.
F 64. Brooks, Brooks, F is in Frank, 64 at gmail.com. Thank you so much. Because
Thank
people be like, she gave us the wrong information. So I want to make sure
you.
that I am giving the right information. So, Francina, would you come back on? And as we get into what the government is doing and more grants and the nuance of this and that, would you be with us again to just uplift us and update us, because what you have said today has been so uplifting for nonprofit organizations, and how to go about getting that funding.
Absolutely. And the next time that I come on, would definitely love to have my partner, Dr. Beckles, because she
Yes.
has more knowledge related to the federal government. She's dealt with federal funding. She has managed federal programs. So she will come again with me and bring another wealth of knowledge to you. So, yes,
Wonderful. You
absolutely.
two are powerful. You girls are powerful with all this knowledge. Okay. Oh, I love it.
Thank
We
you.
we perish for a lack of knowledge. So you know what? You know what? You're
Absolutely.
there, you're a consultant. If God is giving you that vision, run with it. Run with it. But do it right. And make sure that you are getting a consultant that is showing you how to do it the right way. So, if you don't mind, we'll see you the next time.